Um, I feel so weird making a video after not recording for so long. Obviously, some things have changed. I literally just finished doing this today, so it's kind of new to me too. It's like ginger hair. No? Ginger. It's supposed to be like a ginger. I don't know if that really comes across or if it just looks like a really like burnt orange or like a burnt blonde. It's supposed to be ginger. So just putting that out there. But I felt like the only way to start making videos again was to just do it, because I've been waiting for when I feel like doing it again, when I feel that motivation, and it's just getting to the point where I realize that I'm the type of person that my feelings are very fickle about certain things, and I need to force myself into doing things because I get really content is a terrible word to describe this feeling. I wish I was content, because I'm definitely not. I get pretty complacent about my situation, especially if like things go wrong. So basically, I'm just going to explain to you how I realized I'm lost. And I have these pretzels that are on their way to being stale. And I'm gonna wash it down with wine, because that's just who I am right now, and I need to stop drinking to deal with my emotions, but I'm not at that place yet where I can, unfortunately. So I'm just gonna keep doing it for now until I'm at that place where I can. I don't do it often, by the way. I haven't drank probably like a week. That's a fucking lie. 4 days. So it's not like an everyday thing. It's just when my feelings are like all over the place, I really just, it's the only thing that calms me down. I need to find another calming mechanism. Anyway, so me and my sister are living alone now. My grandmother's in a nursing home now, and getting to that point where she's been there, because it wasn't like an easy like transition. Obviously it's like heartbreaking that she's in there. I feel bad. I don't think that she thinks that I feel bad. I feel terrible about it. She's there because she wasn't taking care of herself, and even though me and my sister, we tried to provide her with, we tried to like tell her what foods to eat, and we were helping her with physical therapy every day, she still wasn't, she was doing just the bare minimum to get by. And so one day she finally fell, and it did irreparable damage. So she needed 24-hour care, and at first I was going to quit my job and just take care of her, but her nurse told me that that would be dumb of me to do because I'm not trained. Not to mention I'm only 23 years old. But basically it was the kind of thing where I can't pick, I only weigh 100 pounds. I'm 107 pounds. But I can't pick her up. Me and my sister, we can't even pick her up with both of us trying to do it, so she would just be subjected to laying in a bed all day. And that's just like at least with the nursing home they can pick her up. But anyway, so she's she was fighting that for a very long time because she wasn't trying to take no for an answer. Even though we can't afford home care, we can't afford, someone taking care of her, we can't afford assisted living. So I've been pretty, because every time, right, we go see her, because we see her like twice a week. Every time we see her, she's in a terrible mood, which obviously, like, who wouldn't be, having to be in a nursing home, but it's just like I don't know how to deal with it because I feel terrible that she's there. But I also know, like, it's not my fault. I tried to help every way that I could, but she wouldn't help herself, so I think I was just getting over that hurdle. I got a new job, and I was a temp, and then I actually got hired on, so it's my first full-time job at a company where I'm at right now. I'm working for corporate, which is really cool. It was really tiring at first too. Never worked a 40-hour work week before. And this job requires a lot of overtime too, so I started getting kind of like settled into this routine where, because I was too tired to do anything when I came home, I still kind of am pretty much. I'm trying to get out of it, but it's really hard, especially because like for this job we have to work on the weekends too a lot. During the last 2 weeks of the month we have to work on the weekends sometimes, and I was still like living in the living room, but now I'm clearing my grandmother's stuff out of her room because I'm about to move in there, which is hard. It hurts me to do that. I didn't even want to do it, really. I wasn't ready. My sister had to like force me to start doing it because I honestly just like, me clearing her stuff out and giving her stuff to Goodwill is just like, it's just like, damn, like she's really not coming back. It hurts. I mean, us living with her wasn't really working out. It wasn't really like a good, healthy situation because she wasn't taking care of herself, and it's hard to like watch someone deteriorate like that, even when you're trying to help them, So, I mean, me and my sister, we were planning on moving out next year anyway. We told her that we would like, help her with physical therapy every single day, and we would do everything we could to help her in that year. And then after that year, if she still wasn't taking care of herself, then it just was on her because we couldn't do it anymore. It's just so stressful trying to take care of a grown ass person. It's stressful as fuck, and our mental, couldn't handle it. But I thought she definitely would have lasted that year, but she kept falling because she wouldn't get up to exercise her limbs while we were gone. All she would do was the 30 minutes of physical therapy every day, and that's it. The nurse literally told her, you need to at least stand up every hour, and she wouldn't even do that. So it's like, what do you even do? So I started getting settled into kind of like this routine. And I was really okay with the fact that I hadn't been with anyone in months. I actually was starting to kind of like I was really comfortable just doing my own thing and like being by myself. But we all have physical needs. So I got back on Tinder, but not in like a pursuit of like anything. And this was the first time I wasn't in a pursuit of like a hookup or a relationship or whatever. I was just, like, I'm saying that, like, honestly, because, like, usually whenever I do get on Tinder, it's with a specific goal in mind. But I honestly just wanted to kiss someone. I just wanted someone to kiss, someone to maybe cuddle me, but it wasn't like, I guess maybe that is a goal, but not a goal as to, like, I wanted to define anything, you know? And I went out with this one guy. We went to Dave and Buster's, and we had a cool first date, but I could tell that he, like, he showed up in, like, this huge ass black hoodie and, like, jeans, and I was, like, dressed up. So I knew he didn't really take it that seriously. He also said, oh, this is our first meeting, and I'm like, oh, it's not a date. Okay, LOL. I also, at the bartender gave me a drink that had glass in it, and I almost swallowed. I don't know if I swallowed that glass or not, but I don't know if I did actually swallow that glass, but I felt it in my mouth, and it wasn't like, I thought it was ice at first, and I tried to, like, bite down on it, and it wasn't melting, and I was like, what the and I took it out of my mouth, and the guy I was with wasn't even bothered. He was like, oh, you'll be fine. That piece of glass is really small, so it was just a weird thing. Like, I told the bartender and everything, by the way, and the manager came over and asked me if I wanted to file a complaint, and I told them that I didn't, and they gave me, like, a free drink or whatever. I just didn't know what to do. I was shocked because I thought it was a big deal, but then the guy I was with wasn't acting like it was a big deal, so I was like, oh, maybe I'm tripping, maybe it's not a big deal. Anyway, so I ended up going to this spiritual church, and I call it it's a spiritual church because the pastor, we meditate before service, and she's a medium, so she'll, like, deliver messages before the service, and she talks about spirit and things like that. And I've only been there twice, but the 2 times her talks are, like, really good. Her talks are, like, really, really good. Anyway, so the first time I was there, the reason why I even got there in the first place, because my coworker from my apartment cleaning job had been, like, telling me I should go for, like, months, and I finally went because the services are only, like, twice a month. And I go, and she had a friend, her friend named Carmen, and she was, like, an older lady, like, really older. I want to say probably, like, 60. She's got to be, like, 60. But very youthful in her spirit, though, I will say that. Very youthful in spirit. And you could tell she was, like, really in touch with her, like, spirit side or whatever. And then during the service, a girl came. She was late, and but she was, like, my age. I could tell she was my age. And she was black. She was beautiful. I remember she came in and I saw her, and she had on this, like, head wrap, and her skin was just, like, freaking glowing, bro. She had really, like, dark, rich skin, and she was so fucking beautiful. I looked at her, and I was trying not to keep looking at her. She was so pretty, and I was, like, really excited because I hadn't seen someone because the people I work with are all really, like, older. They're, like, 40, 50. I hadn't really seen anyone my age for a while, actually, in, like, the same, like, vicinity as me, as, like, and, like, availability to talk to. Obviously I see people when I go to Walmart or whatever, but, like, so I was really excited. I was like, oh my god, I need to think of something to say to her. I need to figure out a way to, like, talk to her or something. And so after the service, the pastor, like, because the services are at her house. She has, like, this big castle house, and she had dinner, not dinner, but like a lunch sort of thing. And so, Carmen introduces me to the girl, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And me and the girl were talking. It was really awkward. I could tell that she felt like kind of like awkward about it. I didn't really know what to say, but we were talking, and then she was telling me that she was going to an art gallery, and like I was like, oh yeah, you should come if you know get a if you're free tonight, you should come. And I was thinking in my head like, because I was like meeting people that day, and honestly, like, because I've been so isolated lately, like, you know, just going to work and coming home, just being with my sister, like being around people actually kind of like drains me now. And so my first instinct was, I mean, I am free, I should go, I should meet people, I need to stop being so enclosed, because like I have a dueling nature. I'm really like introverted, but I do love interacting with people and being around people. Oh, sorry. This position isn't gonna last, girl. What are you doing? Okay, sit the fuck down. Okay, sit the fuck down. So, but then at the same time, you know, I really, honestly, going to that church that day took a lot out of me. I don't know why, but it took a lot out of me. I was really nervous to go. I was really, really nervous to go. But anyway, basically, so, because I'm in my own head and everything, I decided, because she had walked away, I went to go use the bathroom, we ate, blah, 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 blah. I'm talking with my coworker, and talking to Carmen a little bit, and, that was my first time ever meeting Carmen, by the way, and that girl. And I just remember thinking in my head, yeah, I'm not gonna go to this art gallery, I'm just gonna go home, because I was, like, too nervous, way too anxious. My social anxiety is so bad. I was just like, no, I can't do it. Especially because I can't drink, because I'm driving, so. I have my own car, by the way. Yeah, I didn't even need a co-signer for it. It was pretty fucking crazy, but. So anyway, Carmen and her coworker were leaving, and, they were telling us goodbye and whatever, and, you know, I'd made my mind that I was probably just gonna leave and go home, and then Carmen came up to me and said, that girl, she invited you to the art gallery, right? And I was like, yeah, she did actually. Just like, yeah, you need to go. You should go. Go there and go find yourself a boyfriend. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't tell this woman I didn't have a boyfriend. Like, do I just look like I don't have a boyfriend? Like, do I really just look that lonely? And, I was really taken aback, but when she said that, I was just like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm going. So I went up to the girl and I was like, hey, yeah, when did you say that thing started? And she's like, oh, where are you going? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. And, so she actually was planning on walking there, and I was like, oh no, fuck that, I have a car. So I drove her, and we went to the art gallery. The art gallery was really nice. She introduced me to people. The one guy that I did, like, have, like, some sort of, like, weird connection with, not connection, but I don't know how to put it, like, this weird kind of, like, vibe with. I could tell that she was so into him, though. I wasn't really, like, physically attracted to him, though. He seemed, like, kind of, like a really nice person, though. And his art was pretty cool, because he was, like, one of the artists that was showcased in the gallery. Oh, but she was so into him, though. Oh, my God. It was so obvious. I was like, oh, my God, she's so into him. It's really funny, because I was just meeting all those people for the first time. I was so nervous. I felt so fucking awkward. But I knew I looked cute that day. So, after the gallery, I went home. I went home early, actually, because she planned on staying there the whole time. And it was getting to the point where I was like, I kind of just want to go home. I was meeting too many people, and I was like, I've done a lot today. I've done a lot. And then I went home, and I texted the guy that I I texted him while I was at the gallery. I texted him, and the guy from Dave & Buster's, and I was like, hey, because we'd went out twice already, and I was starting to kind of like him. We didn't kiss or anything, actually. We didn't kiss. We didn't do anything like that, actually. We only hugged, and I was starting to kind of like, okay, yeah, he's pretty cool. And I actually texted him. I was like, hey, I'm actually in your area. Do you want to meet up? Because I was just feeling myself. I was like, oh, I look really cute. This shouldn't really go to waste, you know. And he was like, oh, no, I'm doing this thing. I'm like, he was into like magic tournaments and shit. And that was like a thing that he did every weekend. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm in my tournament starting at like 4 o'clock, and then after that I'm eating out with my friends, otherwise I'd totally go home. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah, have fun. I was salty about it, I'm not gonna lie. Only because he like sent me a Snapchat of like where he was. He wasn't even he had actually initially told me that he wasn't even gonna be in that area. He was gonna be like out of town. So when he sent me that Snapchat that he was actually in town, I was like, the fuck? And then that's when I asked if he wanted to hang out, so I was kind of annoyed by that, but then I was like, alright, whatever. I mean, he's not my fucking boyfriend, so I went back home, and I was teaching my sister how to drive, and I had actually matched with this guy on Tinder that day, and we exchanged probably like five or six messages back and forth. It wasn't anything serious, and he asked me for my number. I gave it to him, and we talked for a little. I want to say we probably only exchanged like 3 more messages over text. I'm like teaching my sister how to drive, and then all of a sudden he was just like, so when are we gonna meet up? And I was like, for some reason, because I felt cute, and I was like, this shouldn't go to waste, I said, I'm free tonight. And I expected, because usually like when people like say when are we gonna meet up, they don't mean like tonight, you know. So I expected him to be like, oh, I can't tonight, like tonight's no good, but maybe tomorrow. But he actually said, cool, I'm done at work at 7. And I'm like, oh, I guess I have a date. And I was looking back at his pictures, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's fucking hot. And so obviously, like, I mean, like, I'm not even trying to like, he's really fucking hot. Not white, by the way. I know a lot of you are probably assuming he's white. He's not white. He's Hispanic. But I was like, oh, he's really fucking sexy. Okay. So, yeah, my first instinct was, okay, just because of the type of pictures he took, I was like, okay, he's probably a fuckboy and probably just wants to fuck me, and we'll have to see about that, because I'm not sure, we'll just have to see, I don't know. Anyway, so, we planned to meet up at a bar, and I deduce in my head that there's no way that he could be that attractive in person, and he probably just takes really good pictures, and he's probably just really ugly in person. That's what I deduced. So I waited at the bar. I was there before him. We were both late, actually, and I was waiting at the bar. Some random guy bought me a shot, so I'm like, I chugged that bitch, and I was just like, because I was trying to calm down. I was really nervous. And then he texts me, he's like, hey, I'm here. And I read the text, and I'm like, oh, I'm inside the bar. And I was talking to this bartender girl who was so nice. She was like off, but she like got me a drink anyway, even though she was off, just chilling. And so he texted me, where are you? And I looked up, and he was like coming in the doorway, like looking for me, and I raised my hand up and then put my head back down, because he was even better looking in person, and I was like, I didn't anticipate this. Out of all the anxious outcomes and scenarios that I pictured in my head, you being even more attractive in person wasn't a part of that. I thought you were gonna be ugly in person, or like maybe just as attractive in your photos, but not even more attractive in person. So I was really thrown off. Really thrown off. And I was being really awkward. And I didn't really know what to say to him. We actually ended up having a pretty good conversation. I wouldn't say like mind-blowing conversation, but we actually ended up having a pretty good conversation. And then he was like, so what are you trying to do? You're trying to go somewhere else? And I was like, okay. And so we went outside, and he tried to kiss me, and I like was like, I can't do this. And he was like, wow. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty awkward, I'm sorry. And he was like, yeah, I can see that. I was like, yeah. It was so awkward of me to do, but I couldn't help it. I literally, and honestly, I didn't think he was gonna talk to me after that, but I just assumed he was just gonna be like over it, because like even like our next date, like he tried to kiss me, like I let him kiss me like at the end of the date on our first date, I think. But I was so like, even when he was kissing me, I was just like kind of just like, because I was like, I don't even know, I was just so hyper aware of everything. And then the second date, we went to this movie theater in a mall, and he tried to kiss me in the mall, and I was just like, and I really just thought that he just wasn't gonna be like into me at all, just because of how I was being. And I honestly accepted it in my brain that he wouldn't like be into it, because I'm thinking in my head, like, this guy is so hot, like he doesn't need to put up with how awkward I am, you know? Like, I'm sure there's plenty of other girls who are even prettier than I am. Not saying that I'm like anything like all that in a bag of chips, but I'm sure there's plenty of hotter girls than me who are easygoing and can have a better conversation and can relax their nerves and probably can fuck you, because at that point I couldn't even engage in sexual relations because I was just so nervous. My pussy was like wouldn't open it. Even if Jesus had tried to part that sea, it wouldn't have been parted. That's how fucking anxious I was. So but we saw each other 4 times in a row that week. And then he told me that he was starting to like really like me, and he didn't know why, and just started being like really open about his feelings and everything. And I could tell it was genuine because, like I said, we tried to, and it didn't work. It ended really badly, like really badly. And it was just like weird how everything happened. And then 2 weeks later, so like 2 weeks after we met, we decided we were together. I actually didn't want to be in a relationship. I wanted to see him and see other people, but he had already told me that he wasn't doing that at all. And when I told him that I wasn't really, he told me that he had deleted his Tinder app probably I want to say like at the end of like probably like maybe like the middle of the second week we were going out. And I was just like, oh, that's really awkward because I'm still talking to him. And he was like, well, I guess you can just do you. But I could tell he was like hurt by it. And then I started feeling so bad. I was like, damn. And then I realized, like, well, if I have someone who's so about me and whatever, why am I sitting around trying to fuck around with other dudes who wouldn't even be willing to be as open as he has with me? And I was starting to really like him. Like, my guard was so up, but it was starting to come down just because of like how consistently open and honest he was about his feelings and everything. And yeah, so we've been together for about a month and a couple weeks. It's definitely been really intense. A lot of emotion involved. A lot. I'm just gonna be completely honest. I'm like falling in love with him. Which after a month, like, come on now, like, if somebody were to be like, yeah, I'm falling in love with someone after a month, I'd be like, okay, bitch, you're not. Let's drag you. Let's. Here's reality. I need you to drag that back in. But that's genuinely how I feel. And so I guess you're wondering, well, what do you mean you lost yourself? How you lost yourself in a month? Well, like, it's not like a fairy tale sort of deal, though. We have like a really insane connection to each other, but obviously we have problems just like any other relationship, and but the problems are pretty petty, I would say. They're like not any like major issues. We're really alike. We have a lot of things in common. We also have a lot of faults in common. Our childhoods were I wouldn't say they were similar in the events that took place, but the effects that they had on us as adults, very similar. And so we have similar faults when it comes to reacting to conflict. And I've learned a lot about myself in just this past month with how I deal with people and how people affect me, the things that I take to heart, why I take them to heart. I'm really starting to really hone in on who I am when I'm with someone. And it's only because of like how he is to me. He makes me want to be better for myself and for him. And so again, what do you mean you lost yourself? Well, I realized I had really I started losing myself. And I do feel lost right now because the complacency that I was talking about before, it didn't change. It wasn't changing. And I was still going through that routine of going to work, coming home, but I added him to the mix, or going to work, seeing my grandmother every couple of days, whatever. But I added him to the mix of that, and I realized, became my only source of kind of like, you know, when you have a routine and you're really complacent with it, if you add things, like, because he was that one excitement that I had during the week, and I didn't even realize, because I thought that like watching my TV shows were exciting to me, but because I had that like pop of like difference in my week, I started really attaching myself emotionally to him really fast. And I remember when I realized that I was losing myself was when he told me that he'll probably have to go away for a while for work. And we were kind of having an argument, and I told him that I felt like I needed space, and he said, well, if we don't work out, that's fine. I'll just go away. I'll just go away for work and that'll be that. And I had a fucking panic attack at work. I really did. I lost my sense of control completely. And I fucking hate feeling like that. And so I took a break, a spontaneous break, and I called him and I'm like crying and I'm like this and that, and he's telling me like my words should not be affecting you that much. Like me telling you, because I was like, why would you even say that? You know, why would you even tell me that you need, that if we don't work out, that you're just gonna leave? And he was like, well, because you were telling me you need space. So what was I supposed to, obviously I'm thinking that you are thinking about breaking up. And that's valid. I didn't think about that, but that's totally valid. But really the big takeaway from that conversation was, you know, him telling me like, even though we're together, we can't lose ourselves in each other. And I didn't realize that's what I had been doing. You know, I haven't really been doing anything for myself. I haven't been posting on this channel. That's a huge thing that I do for myself. I haven't been writing. I have been more recently now, but I wasn't really doing any self-care. I wasn't doing my makeup. I wasn't, you know, grooming myself too well. You know, I was taking showers and everything like that, keeping up with basic hygiene, but not really like in depth of what, you know, really makes me feel better. And I realized I was losing myself in him, and our relationship was the only thing I was thinking about, and I don't want to be like that. The biggest reason why I realized that I do feel lost is because I don't have a best friend anymore. She's not dead. Let's just get that out of the way. She's not dead. But she did something pretty unforgivable, which I will probably make a video on, because she recently kind of posted something online that like kind of solidified for me that I don't ever want to talk to her again. But that losing her, we've been best friends for 10 years. So she is usually the person that I would talk all of this to. Me and my boyfriend, we talk a lot. We talk about a lot of things, but I don't feel comfortable talking to him about every little thing yet, because we're still getting a feel of like what we need, and I'm still learning who he is. He's still learning who I am, and there's certain things that I don't feel comfortable telling him, just because I'm so sensitive about people's reactions to what I tell them, that if he were to react wrong, like not wrong, but like if he were to react in a way that I would interpret it as negative, I wouldn't know how to move past that. And that's me being perfectly honest. Like, I would just feel so hurt by it that I wouldn't see that, like, I wouldn't be able to rationalize myself out of it. I would just be hurt, and I wouldn't want to tell him anything else ever again. So, because I don't have that anchor of a best friend to talk to anymore, I feel compelled to drink. I feel lonely. I feel like no one really cares about me. Not that no one cares, but no one cares enough to really just sit and listen and really want to listen to me. And I had that with my best friend, and we've been broken up, you could say, for probably, I guess, a few weeks now, and I haven't gotten over it. I probably won't get over it for a very, very, very long time. And, losing her, actually her basically telling me, her being out of my life has really put some huge walls up, barriers up for me. If it wasn't for my boyfriend, I definitely would have just shut everybody out of my life, because I felt so betrayed by her, a person I've known and trusted for 10 years. I feel so betrayed by her that my first instinct is to be like, I can't trust anyone. If I can't trust her, who could I trust? Obviously, other than my sister. I can trust her, obviously, but, in terms of all my other friends, I just really felt like, no. I just really wanted to cut everybody off. But I was already in a relationship. You can't cut off your boyfriend emotionally and think that the relationship's going to thrive. And he didn't deserve that, because I know it took a lot for him to be vulnerable to me in the first place. Not to mention, I already loved him at that point, which is so crazy, because we had only been together for probably like 2 weeks and a couple days, and we were already saying we love you to each other. And it's actually like, yeah, I actually do. It's wild, but having that whirlwind of a situation, and then also losing my friend, it was just it still is a lot of things I don't know how to understand, really. I don't really know how to get my emotions across. The couple of times where I have tried to talk to people about it, I don't really feel like, either I don't feel like that they, like, I tried to talk to my one friend, bless his heart. I tried to talk to my one friend about it, and while I was talking and crying, he was like talking to someone else as I was talking to him, and I was just like, okay, so you don't give a fuck. And I tried to talk to a couple other people about it, and I just feel like no one understands how deeply hurt I am by the loss of her, because I loved her with all of my soul, all of my being. I loved her so much. She was a sister to me. But what she did is just unfucking forgivable. To me. To someone else, it might not be a big deal, but... So anyway, I want to start making videos again. I don't even really know where to start. To be honest, I'm in a place where I don't even know what to do with myself, bro. That was my sister. I'm in a place where I don't even know what to do with myself. I want to cry all the time. My emotions are everywhere. Even at work. Work is stressful. Work stresses me out so bad. Everything's just stressful. Everything's stressing me out. Being an adult. I'm going to start having to pay for everything. Really transition into that responsibility life. It's just stressful. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with other people's emotions. I know that I can't always just care about me, and how people are treating me. I have to think about how I'm treating people, how I'm communicating myself to people. Obviously, I'm not a perfect person. One of my huge flaws is when I do feel my feelings are hurt, I don't articulate myself productively. I get mad and I'll just start yelling. Like, if you hurt my feelings and you ask me what's wrong, I'll just start yelling at you. So obviously that's not fucking productive. But my emotions are I just feel so hurt by it. I don't know how else to articulate myself. And then there's times when I do try to she really fucking singing right now. I'm gonna hurry up and end this. There's times where I really will try to sit and like calm down, articulate myself, and it still won't get across to people what I mean. And then I'll feel even more pissed off because it takes me it's so hard for me to calm down, so hard for me to like center myself and be able to like just be like, this is how I feel. It's so hard for me. So for people to not like receive it the way I need them to just feels like a slap in the face. It just hurts. So I don't feel good. I'm not in a good place mentally. Obviously if I'm drinking my problems away, obviously I'm not in a good place. I feel very lonely. I'm in a relationship and I feel lonely. Isn't that fucked up? But I just don't feel like I have anyone really right now. No one that I can. And part of me just wants to like call her and just be like, whatever, I guess I'll just forgive you. But I know I can't because I'll always resent her. If I like try to like call her and be like, hey, we can work it out, I'll always resent her for putting me in that place because she did the one thing she knew. The one thing that I told her, just don't ever do this to me, and she did it. And I told her 4 years ago, we hashed out everything, we renewed our friendship. I said, just don't do this one thing. And she just couldn't help herself. And I think that's what hurts me the most, to know that someone who knew me for so long, who knows everything about me, I know everything about them, and they wouldn't choose me. So it makes me feel like, why would anybody else? My own parents didn't even. No one ever really does. I've never really been that important to anyone. So